Right, welcome back. Tonight we're going to have a look at SA2s and we're going to do it across the nation so that people can zoom in, particularly students, zoom in on what they're looking at. Now, I've done a little bit of work previously, so the fertility rate I have done for Australia. Now, if we look at the breaks that I've put in there, 2.1 to 3.14 in the darkest colour, the darkest purple. Probably should be a little bit different to that because replacement level uh, is 2.3. So we really should change our breaks, and I'm going to change it to 2.3 here because that is replacement level. Um, and we'll see how it changes the data. And you can see it changed it quite a deal. Most of Western New South Wales and a lot of southern Western Queensland was in that darker range, but now it's not so. We've got a few patches around the place, but predominantly we're in those non lower than replacement level, and you could write a lot about that. Particularly South Australia, coastline, Brisbane, which I concentrate on. There's very few above replacement level. 2.1 gives you a bit more to talk about, but that's an easy way. And you can see up here total fertility rate per female, rate, 2021 data, and we've done everything that we need to do to make that possible. Now, what I would do here is I would go save as, and I would call this, I would change this to IA3. I would change this to ABS fertility rate 2021. I'd probably get rid of that. This is going to be important later because when we save this, this is a map that we saved, and we can bring this straight into our story map, or we can print it out. But we've created our own layer. Next, what we're going to do is natural increase, and we've done this before. Net overseas and net internal migration. This one's important, so I'm going to turn that on. You can see there's no data there populated, so I need to make sure that the blue line is beside this. I've renamed this layer simply because we're going to turn it into that particular data set. Now we're going to go into field, and we're going to have to scroll down quite a way because we can see there total fertility rate, death rate, internal migration. Now, this is really important. We have to compare apples with apples. Net internal migration, and we're going to turn on net overseas migration. We're going to turn those two on and add. What this is going to do, and we can play around with the data, but what this is going to do is showcase net which whether overseas or internal migration add to the demography or the population of the SA2s, and we'll be able to look at percentage or how particular it is. Takes a little while, and I've got to pad out this, and here we go. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go down and we're going to go chart and size, because we want to create a chart highlighting the size of the population change, net migration. Really important. And we can see here that we've got style, not particularly enthralled with those colors, so I'm going to go in and change the colors. I particularly like that one. I'm going to go there because it pops. I'm going to do a little bit of a donut. I'm going to make sure my outline is clear. Make it 2. And let's zoom in. And we can start to see. Let's go to Toowoomba, for instance. Now, Toowoomba is a really interesting area. we can see here net internal migration, so that's migration within Australia, from Australia, and then net overseas migration. And we can see a few little areas where the net overseas migration outstrips the internal migration. So we have immigrants coming from overseas, and when we go to Ripley, for instance, completely the opposite, net internal migration. So we have people coming into Ripley from other parts of Queensland, Australia, and this is a predominantly internal migration, and a net increase in internal migration. So things to talk about there, but we're also going to save this, and we're going to go to wherever our area is, Yarrabilba, Chambers Flat. If we go down the Gold Coast, we can see that there is half and half. If we go to Coomera, and I know some friends at Livingston International College are doing Coomera, we can see that there is a small percentage of overseas net overseas migration. Look, lots to write about with this sort of map, and what we would do again is we'd save as, and we're going to change this to what the map is, and it's net internal and net overseas migration, and that will give us a map to be able to talk about internal and overseas migration in our assignment. Hope that's helped, and talk to you next time.